Welcome everyone to the initial episode of The Report. I'm Lexicon. Thank you for joining me here today. And what this is all about is basically as things get busier and busier in the life of myself and in particularly Lee, I want to kind of branch off and jump into other subjects. Things like TV and movies, video games, sports, as well as wrestling, and kind of bring you these solo episodes. It's getting harder and harder for Lee and myself to collaborate on the Ringside Report episodes. So in the meantime, I thought I'd hop on here by myself and kind of give you my thoughts on what's going on with everything. Now for this first episode, I wanted to get into the NFL draft. Now the NFL draft is, of course, 3-4 months away, but I always like to get into it early, and I want to wean myself into this one. Now usually I put up mock drafts, usually do a 2-round mock draft, and then I follow along with the real draft. It's a fun game, nothing more, nothing less. But I wanted to kind of ease into it this year, and so what I'm going to do today is give you my top 5 right now, my mock draft for the first 5 picks this year's big extravaganza known as the NFL draft. And we got 5 teams that really need some help, and we've got a draft class that's not particularly strong coming into the draft. Now, we can always find out later whether a draft is good or bad. You can't really tell beforehand, but going into it, there's not that clear number one quarterback, so everybody's kind of panicking. And I thought I might as well give my thoughts on at this stage, in particular, who's going to take what in my mind. Now, what you have to factor in is we're not at combines right now. We're not at individual workouts, pro days. Free agency hasn't hit. A lot of the medical issues are starting to come out, and basically all these scouts are digging into these medical issues, and those will come out gradually. So we'll get a good feel for that later on. But this is kind of fun just right now. Now, I want you guys to kind of give me your top 5 if you're into this kind of thing. So after I'm done here, I'll be posting this on the Facebook page. You can find the Ringside Report on Facebook by searching it, the Ringside Report. And you could also find us on Twitter, at Ringside Podcast. So let's start off with number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. And they need a lot of help, obviously. They got the number 1 pick. They have a brand new GM. They have a brand new head coach, Andy Reid. And really what I like to do when a team is in a rebuilding stage, and if there ever was a rebuilding stage, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They've got a good core. They've got guys there that you want to keep. But ultimately, you're looking to change the face of this organization. What they need to do is they need to get security for whoever they're going to take in the draft, or whoever they pick up in free agency to be their quarterback, or whoever they promote on the roster right now. They really need to get that quarterback help, and they do so by picking Luke Joeckel, offensive tackle, Texas A&M, number 1 overall. Many people say this is the best player in the draft. I think Kansas City needs this guy to be that foundation for this draft. You look at the teams that take offensive linemen, and sometimes they don't pan out because of, maybe injuries, or maybe they don't pan out because of lack of work ethic. But Luke Joeckel is a guy that I've heard nothing but good things about. He's ready to plug in and play, and Kansas City would really need stability like that if they're going to put in a rookie quarterback into that system. So I think Andy Reid goes offensive tackle here. Number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them taking Jarvis Jones, linebacker out of Georgia. Now this is something that I kind of hesitated on when putting this on here. Now Jarvis Jones, if you don't know, has a serious medical condition relating to his spine, where too much wear and tear, too much banging down there in the trenches can paralyze him. And really, this is kind of one of those picks that's, it's a big name, yes, but you need to be careful with it. And I'm sure Jacksonville would do their research on the medical, and Jarvis might slip to the bottom of the first round, or maybe even out of the first round, if enough NFL teams figure this is a serious enough problem. But Jacksonville Jaguars, listen, they're a mess right now. I don't even know if they know who their head coach is going to be. Obviously not. Malarkey's not there anymore. So this is kind of a safe pick for the time being, because they don't know what kind of schemes they're going to run, etc., etc. But Jarvis Jones here, he's an impact player if he can stay healthy, and I think the Jacksonville Jaguars need that attitude put on their team by one Jarvis Jones. Number 3, the Oakland Raiders. I have them taking Jordan Werner, defensive end out of Florida State. I think Jordan is a guy that can really lead the charge for a new attitude in Oakland. And not only that, they can now move Lamar Houston if they take this guy who's a starter. You move Lamar Houston to the middle of the defensive line, use his size up in the gaps, and hopefully this would make Oakland a little bit more stable. I don't think they're going to get a better, 100% where they want to be after this draft, after this offseason. Carson Palmer, this question, can he get it done? I don't know. I don't think taking a quarterback here is the answer. I don't think Geno Smith. If Geno Smith doesn't go at number 1, he falls in my book. He falls maybe to number 7 or maybe even out of the top 10. But the desperation for quarterbacks has been shown before, reaching for certain quarterbacks. So I don't think Geno Smith is the answer for the Oakland Raiders. I don't think you take a quarterback at number 3 to sit him on the bench behind Carson Palmer, although the Bengals took Carson Palmer way back and they set him on the bench, and that could be a possibility, but Warner right now is a safe pick. So early, we're 4 months away, so early, the safe pick is Warner here. Number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles, without a head coach right now, without a leader, if you will. And I say, why not take someone that could be a potential leader on your defense in Manti Te'o, linebacker from Notre Dame. They have DeMeco Ryans right now in the middle. He racked up the tackles, over 100 tackles. But, sacks-wise, he's not really the impact player that maybe you want. Sometimes you can have less tackles and more turnovers and be more respected that way. I think Manti Te'o is a guy that can be plugged in, and his value got kind of dropped after that national championship game where he really struggled. I've been hearing he was terrible trying to shed blocks, and that could hinder him out of the top 5 and even out of the top 10. But at this time, you look at a guy like Manti Te'o, and it's not just whether he gets off every block. It's not just that. It's whether or not this guy can lift the spirits of the whole defense. And I think Te'o is a special player. He's one of those Pittsburgh Steelers type players where if Pittsburgh were here in the top 5, I think they would go after him. He's that sort of player. So number 5, the Detroit Lions. I have them taking D. Milliner, cornerback out of Alabama, and this is strictly for need, and not only need because of who you have on your roster, but need because of who you face during the season. Think about it. They face Jay Cutler and they face Aaron Rodgers 4 times, 2 times respectively each season, and they need someone that can really hang in there. And I'm not expecting D to be the number 1 guy right off the bat, but I think you put him in there. He gets the experience. He watches the film on these guys, and I think he adapts quickly enough to be valuable for the Detroit Lions. The Lions are a team that have the talent there to make a postseason run. It's really sad to see them in this position, especially what they did last year. But overall, you kind of stick with need in my mock drafts. I don't really like to go for best available unless it's understandable. So there's my top 5 mock draft right now. It's going to vary from other people's out there. I know Geno Smith not in the top 5. People say, hey, where's he going? He could slip back to the Cardinals at number 7. They obviously need a quarterback. Hey, where does Matt Barkley go? Depending on his injury and how serious it is, that could slip into the second round, and that could be a Kansas City Chiefs pick right there. If they want to attempt that, I mean, they've got the room to do that. So and they build that foundation with Luke Jokel at number one. Of course, things don't always go how I predict them to go. I remember I did the mock draft, and this was out of principle. I couldn't put Cam Newton any higher than number 24. He comes out, has a monster season for Carolina. This year, he kind of shows more what I was expecting him to be right out the gates, and we'll have to wait and see in his third season what happens. But I feel very strong at this point about especially the number one pick. Number two, I don't know, and depending on what happens at number two, that could shape the rest of the draft. Warner could go at number two, who knows? But yeah, that does it for today. Thanks a lot for checking it out. The report. Tell me what you think. Do you like it? Do you want to hear more? If it's a good response, I'll try to get on here as much as I can and get more content out to you guys. I don't know when we're going to be doing another ringside report. Hopefully soon, so I can get Lee on here and you don't have to hear me talk so much. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Lexicon. See ya.